What's up, Eager to Pleasers? Welcome back to the Eager to Please podcast. I hope you've been having a great week. And despite the past few weeks that I've been having, I guess I could say I'm doing fine too. As we wrap up this month's theme, I wanted to take a few minutes to reflect on all we've talked about as it relates to the I'm fine phrase. So here's a question for you. Have you ever wondered why it's so common for people to say I'm fine when you ask them how they've been? I know I have, so I wanted to share an article I stumbled upon written by Holly and Scott Stoner, licensed marriage and family therapists and directors of the Wellness Compass. Side note, if you wanted to check out more of their work, head on over to their website, thewellnesscompass.org. In reading their article, it explains there are times when a person either isn't aware of what they're feeling or has no interest in letting you know what they're feeling. And when that happens, if you ask that person what or how they're feeling, you might get a response like, "Oh, I'm fine." It's an abbreviated way of letting you know they want privacy and to be left alone with their feelings and thoughts. When we hear a person saying, "I'm fine," we can probably assume that their fine stands for this: feelings in need of expression. I don't know about you, but I have never heard this acronym used before. But in knowing what I do now about the phrase and why people say it, I can see that meaning making a whole lot of sense. Think about it for a minute. Most likely, that person has something going on in their life that involves emotions they're not ready or able to share. But knowing how to handle those feelings is what helps promote our well-being. Holly and Scott share that one of the hallmarks for emotional wellness is the capacity to both be aware of and express the full range of our emotions, not telling ourselves that we're fine even when we're not. There's so much we can learn about ourselves and others when we become fully comfortable with our emotions and the energy we feel within us. This is the wisdom behind the quote they share. Our emotions don't create problems. They contain the exact genius we need to solve them. If you listen to episode 15 with my sister Michelle, she'd say the same thing that Holly and Scott do. We were not born knowing how to handle our emotions. Over time, we learn ways to manage our feelings from the way we were raised, by our parents, grandparents, close friends, and society as a whole. If we're fortunate to have good teachers, we have a better chance of knowing how to handle our emotions well. And if we didn't, they share that there's still good news. We can always learn new and more effective ways to manage and grow our emotional well-being. We don't have to throw our hands up and say, "Well, that's just how I was brought up." You can learn to change. It's a lifelong commitment. Holly and Scott further share that they've found people often report they're comfortable expressing some emotions while they struggle expressing others. Some even say that they feel and express anger, but sadness and vulnerability are difficult for them. Some say the opposite. They're comfortable expressing sadness, but not anger. Others still report that they rarely or never heard the words "I love you" as a child, so they now have difficulty verbally expressing those feelings. And still, others learn to say "I'm fine" rather than express their strong emotions. What I found to be a good reminder is that there are appropriate times to express our emotions, and so saying "I'm fine" might be okay to say to a friend who seems to be distracted with other things and doesn't necessarily have the time for the full version of your crappy day. But also knowing that if this is the only response you have, the only tool in your tool belt, it might be time to dig deeper, to take a closer look into what's keeping you from sharing your feelings. I'll leave you with this final thought from Holly and Scott. Learn to make it personal by asking yourself these 3 questions. Is there a particular emotion that's challenging for you to express? Is there a specific emotion that makes you uncomfortable when expressed by others? And do you see a connection between your 2 answers to these? There's your homework for the week. I can't wait to have you join me for our next episode. New theme and new song. I'll see you then.